First, I wanted to tell you about the cloning stuff, okay? Now, human cloning, I have to tell you, it's been done since at the end of World War II, okay? It's like a secret thing among the, like, elite. They use it for their crazy stuff, you name it, they've done it. The way that this cloning works, okay, there's two different kinds of cloning, and it confuses people. Now, there's replication cloning, where it comes up as a baby, right? Put the cells in, make the same person as a baby. Well, there's duplication cloning as well, where they grow you in a big thick tank full of water. Well, Britney Spears made a video about this place, because the thing was, to get advertised and promoted and stuff, she had to basically sell her clone, use of her clone, at the cloning center. So the thing was, she signed up right away thinking, yeah, sure, I'll be famous. Well, thing is, they wanted to use her every night. Old men and stuff. Old men and clones on her, and real people on her clones too. So she doesn't have dreams anymore. Oh, they make songs and stuff about this all the time, about stuck in the dreams. They can also, if they apply a constant electronic current to your clone, you will have an aneurysm. If you're younger, it'll take a little bit longer with the electric current, but you will have an aneurysm. That's what happened to Tila Tequila. She doesn't want to say that, though. The thing is, Tila Tequila was threatened not to talk about it. She was helping me for a minute. Well, Tila has a clone running at the cloning center, and she has to, well, she pretty much sold it out for her shot at love thing. Tila Tequila started to come out and talk about them. She went on her radio blog show, she said, in the cloning centers and the things you guys do to children. But the thing is, well, they told her at the cloning center not to do it, not to help me, because they're trying to play me off as a joke. They're in deep bases, right? Like this Dulce or Dulce base, it has an entire floor devoted to cloning, okay? Now it also has another floor devoted to gene splicing. You should see some of the stuff I've seen. It's a terrible, diabolical, nefarious place. I've seen all kinds of stuff. Oh, the Picton murders up in Canada, with that guy that killed all the hookers. That was set up by them. They videotaped all the murders. They used to clone Picton into the place and had him running around talking to him, and he felt like he was like a celebrity, right? Anyway, he used to smash them with a ball-peen hammer. People will say, oh, they're cloning people, they don't have that technology yet. Well, they really do. Like, and I don't get anything from this. I'm not writing a book or looking to write a book. I'm looking to crush these people. But the problem is, they're the richest and most powerful people in the world, and I'm just one person, right? So
If you go to Disney World, for instance, down there in the Haunted Mansion, you see the hologram, right? Oh, you know how to make a hologram. Well, our scientists have learned how to make people. They call them synthetics. Are you familiar with those? Are you familiar with those? Are you familiar with those? Because synthetics, when you touch their skin, it feels like plastic almost. That's the latest technique. All I need to do is take 2 cells off of your body. We give them a small electrical charge. I'm just now I act like a fertilized egg. If I got a fertilized egg, all I need is a receiver in order to make it. So they were hypnotizing women, you know, said they were being invaded by aliens. And the fetus starts growing, right? Needs food. Well, they can use cows and sheep, too. Again, a food source. That's all we need. After about 14 weeks, all of a sudden, that fetus is gone. Because they've learned to take, that's when the fetus starts developing its own blood supply. Then they've used a pituitary hormone extract that they have, which accelerates the being that grows. I'll give you something to ponder. Get some old videos of George Bush, when he first came into office. Look at the person and listen to him speak. Look at his actions and listen to everything that's there. Now, it's a lot easier to put somebody out in front to act as a, you know, even Bush did. He had somebody else that was up there acting like he is and look like it. Even Hitler had he had his stand. In fact, his stand-in was the one that they found in the ground over in Germany. I mean, Hitler and Eva and the dog and 14 other people got aboard a plane and flew down to Barcelona, Spain. You were aware of that. And then ended up in Antarctica or in Swabenland and then died a few years ago in Brazil. I have all the documents from our own government. Stalin asked for they tried to burn the body and he got the body back and he said, wait a minute, different ears and the testicles were different and everything else. So they knew it wasn't Hitler. Since 1938, they've been making clone people. There's 8 countries making clones. If I start talking about cloning too much, the people that get involved into that disappear on it. So I don't go into too many more details, but there is information that's available. The only thing is, sometimes you have glitches in it, so you have to have them tuned up occasionally or redone. And so we take them to Camp David, or there's a wing at Bethesda Hospital to just tell you. If you go down there and check, you'll find the nurses, if they're willing to come forth, they'll tell you they work on those people, and they call them the others. I thought it was interesting. They're people. Remember, these people can think and act, but they don't have soul. That's also prophesized. That's also prophesized.
They've done this to so many people. It's remote-controlled execution, like assassination, that's undetectable, right? As long as they have a clone of you, they can kill you, like a bang. And they killed Bernie Mac this way, with an aneurysm. Well, I'll just tell you, Queen Elizabeth had me serenading her because she thinks she's really special. She's pretty insane, by the way, by 5 different ways. She rules this cloning station, basically. Her and Vladimir Putin, they have warehouses underground with them grown people, right? And, oh man, it's very heavy. There's another aspect to this. It's the lizard part. Now, I have to put this eloquently because they said that this is the end of the world event. This is the big bomb that could send the world into panic and loss of order. Well, they're not shape-shifting. The thing is, I'm going to tell you what the shape-shift is, and it's really creepy. And this is the thing that they said that could wipe the world. People panicking with the riots and stuff. Because the cloning thing, people cloning people's kids, messing them up in the brain is bad enough. The lizards. Okay, lizards been around a long time, like since before ancient Egypt and everything. And the symbol, you know, that eye, the eye of Horus with the squiggly hanging out of it, has to do with lizards. It's a lizard symbol. It means 2 things. It's a pro-lizard symbol, and it also means beware, there's lizards here. Okay. There's 3 different kinds of lizards. I'll tell you all about them. They're called vril. Germans were into them. They had a club with vril things. Anyway, there's like a 1 to 1.5 foot tall one. That's the vril type 1. It's got scales, red scales. There's a type 2 that is not parasitic, but it's still vicious, nasty, carnivorous. They're all carnivorous. And there's a type 3 that's 8 feet tall, that has a real long neck and looks like a gray alien, but it comes from deep underground, like below deep base deep. Now, now I have to tell you about the parasitic aspect of the lizards and why the Illuminati and the governments use them, okay? I'm saying this in a nutshell. Well, the lizards have a thing, okay? They have what's called a proboscis. There's lizards out there today that have a proboscis on their face, okay? These things got it in the middle of their head, okay? And on the top of their head, this is the real type 1 and 2. The type 2 have a proboscis sheath that comes out, it sticks out. The type 1s, for instance, it's like a a chocolate chip, it looks like, basically the tip of it. Now, at one point in these things' lives, because they have a long lifespan, the lizard species, one point in their life, they slowly wiggle this thing out, eject it, and it goes into somebody's eyeball, okay, another animal. Now, it wiggles in by the sense of taste. They described this to me so, like, when I was like 18 years old there. The lizard, okay, the thing squiggles in through the eye. It does a spiral around the optic nerve all the way to a certain point, and it's driven there by taste. And they said once it gets there, it has the taste of butterscotch, and then it does a feeling like holding your breath and going, pushing outwards. And at the tip of this chocolate chip, it then starts what they call sweating the quill. Now, the spinal cord stuff comes out of the spinal cord, out of the chocolate chip thingy, and it's everything that the lizard is. The lizard's whole body is dead. The little lizard thing is dead, and it can't go back in. Can't get it back in. It's one way. Once it excretes this stuff, sweats this quill thing, the person's debilitated for an unknown amount of time. I don't know how long. But when they come back, they have to have some recovery time. But when they come back, they are not the person anymore. They are then the lizard. Let me put this to you flatly. The old person's consciousness is gone. The body is absolutely, totally dominated, and the lizard is smarter as a human then, and totally controls everything. Over time, it'll develop a rash, it'll lose its hair. The thing is, these things are all over the place, and they mimic human behavior. In fact, one of their names in the past is Mimic. A lot of the people that you hear about in the news that are getting people and chopping them up in the basement and eating them and stuff, frying them up, these are what they call drones. They're parasited hosts of the lizards. They like to make them. The only thing a drone wants to do is make more, have sex, and torture someone. Like, it's it's a different kind of mentality. It's hard to explain. When they at the cloning station, when they victimize someone, it gives them a powerful feeling, and it's the nerdy way, that nerdy aspect of it. Oh, I got something over someone.
guess what? Human cloning's real. Yep. REM-phase cloning is real. And every time I go to sleep now, they're messing with me. Doing this video on behalf of Donald Marshall. He needs help. He's in a much worse situation than I am. What he has to deal with, he's been tortured, harassed. They take his ideas. All he's trying to do is tell people. He's not trying to get fame. He's not trying to make money off you. He just wants you to know. And if you don't start sharing information and telling people, it's going to be too late. People have to know this. They're trying to tell people this. They think you're crazy. But you got to do it. I don't know what to say. Aliens, are real. Parasiting people. Illuminati, NWO, Cabal, whatever you want to call them. Microchipping people. Taking their bodies. It's real. He's put out all the information. He needs help. He can't deal with it anymore. People think he's satire or it's some sort of entertainment. It's not entertainment. He's so disgusted with, at this point, that he just can't believe it. All he's trying to do is inform people, and they just brush it off like it's nothing. No one else is going to tell you this stuff. They're too scared. Politicians, celebrities, musicians, they're not going to say anything. It's going to have to be the regular people, just normal people, sharing information. I mean, think about it. What if your parents sold you into this? Or your brother, sister, husband, your wife, sold you into this for money and benefits? It's global. This is just so horrible, but it's real. I know it's hard to think about it and accept it, but you have to. There's no way that anyone with any fame or notoriety is going to come out about this. They will be killed, or they will be tortured over and over, put in a clone, tortured to death, put in the next clone, tortured to death, and continue. They're getting ready to bring the cold polar vortex down through Alaska, through the United States, and freeze everyone in their homes. They're going to be frozen in there while they're being hit with HAARP constantly, and agitated, and I don't know what's going to happen. This is the most important thing in history right now. Just please share information. I know it's embarrassing. You don't want people to think you're nuts or whatever, but you might be surprised. People's reaction. People are going to say bad things, but might be surprised how many people message you and say they believe you and they know what's going on.
Well, Britney Spears, she had to basically sell her clone. Well, the thing is, they wanted to use her every night. Old men and stuff. Old men and clones on her, and real people on her clones, too. So she doesn't have dreams anymore.
The troubled pop singer Britney Spears.
The soap opera that is Britney Spears has taken a troubling turn.
With me now is Emily Wynn Hughes. Emily, you were inside the tattoo parlor when Britney arrived and got her tattoo, and you asked her why she shaved her head. What did she say?
She basically just said that she was tired of having things plugged into it and she didn't want anybody to touch her, tired of people touching her, that sort of thing. It seemed like she was kind of sick of it all, whatever it all is, tired of people touching her.
What would you describe her mood as being?
She seemed very distraught and disturbed.
They wanted to use her every night.
Tired of people touching her.
She doesn't have dreams anymore.
Tired of people touching her. She was very scatterbrained and wasn't really answering many questions.
She was brought out on a stretcher, allegedly under the influence of an unknown substance, and taken to hospital for drink and drugs tests as well as a psychological examination.
Tired of people touching her.
They wanted to use her every night.
You gonna go for a walk?
You look nice, Brittany. Where are you going? Why are you crying, Brittany?
You okay, Brittany?
Are you okay, Brittany?
You're better off being homeless than being Lisa.
Flow Rider's song is full of all kinds of references. I explained before in the status update. Okay, it was written by me too. If I didn't, I would have been stabbed beat up. Nah, I'm not trying to show off or nothing or look cool or nothing. Seriously. Yes I can. Y'all best believe I'll be down with this plan. You all better leave, I'll be down with this plan. Pull me, grab me, crabs in the bucket, hand, head me, I'll be the president one day, January 1st. Hope you like that gossip. Make you the one thing I want, gossip.com. Now I got a verb for your tongue. How many Rolling Stones you want?
Yes, I can. Doubt better leave. I'm running with this plan. Pull me, grab me, crabs in the bucket, can't have me. I'll be the president one day, January 1st. Oh, you like that gossip? Like you the one thinking what gossip.com. Now I got a verb for your tongue. How many Rolling Stones you want?
Oh yeah, the second verse there, what is it? Reference to how some of them say them like Jesus full of songs. It's a ridiculous amount of songs are made up there. Wait till you see. They're just waiting for people to shut them down now. It's everywhere. Listen. What is it? The mountain top, walk on water, I got power, feel so raw you. 1 second, I'ma strike all you, diamond, platinum, no more for you. That adrenaline, never get it in. Giving up's not an option, gotta get it in. Greatness, I got the heart of 20 men. No deal, go to sleep when the lights dim. That flow that sparks that crowd.
The mountains top, walk on water, I got power, feel so raw you. 1 second, I'ma strike all you, diamond, platinum, no more for you. That adrenaline, never giving in. Giving up's not an option, gotta get it in. Witness, I got the heart of 20 men. No deal, go to sleep when the lions den. That flow, that spark, that crowd.
Kind of makes it sound like he says, takes a genius to understand me. But I actually said in there, takes your dreams to understand me.
Take a genius to understand me.
So I was always throwing in clues, because I knew I was going to do this. I threw it in all kinds of songs. Mentioned a little while ago, Nelly Furtado put, You Should Know, Space is Cloning, in her and Timberland's song, You Don't Mean Nothing at All to Me.
You should know, space is cloning. Do you really wanna go?
Well, guess who made that song? It's all going to be proven, you'll see. And I'm not looking for fame or nothing, because I don't even like being on camera at all. I'm really nervous on it. I don't like crowds or anything.
Space is cloning.
I wanted them to do the awakening on me so I could go to the cops and get the cops on them. Well, the thing is, they are the cops too. This is the linchpin in how the Illuminati NWO works, because like most of the leaders from the G20 countries go there, about 14 of the G20 countries, and then there's leaders from countries that don't even fit in the G20 that go there too. Freddy Nightmare on Elm Street is based on this. Avatar is based on this too. You open up your eyes there, you're like, where the hell am I? And you look at your hands, you're like, did you guys kidnap me? That's what most people say. Am I kidnapped or something? How did I get here? Some people are drugged, so they think that it's a dream, or they're in the astral realm. That's what they tell people, right? The spirit realm depends on who you are, where you're from. That's what they tell you. And people just believe it because it's like real, right? Slap them in the face, it hurts, and you don't wake up, so it's not a dream, and man, it's not good. Phil Schneider. He tried to do what I'm doing, but he didn't know the entirety. Anderson Cooper as that cloning, yes. Listen, Elijah Wood didn't mind being used when he was a kid for benefit.
Money, right? Fame?
That's what most of them do.
Yeah.
If they ever try to talk...
Which he's doing now. I mean, don't you think he
took it back. He took it back and said that he didn't even mean it. He said he was elaborating on someone else's article and they took it out of context. But that was just a lie because they bounced time. And they said, take it back or we're going to kill you. That's what they do. That's why no one can talk, because they bounce time. They have time-bounce tech, like the Groundhog Day effect with Bill Murray. They can do it a day or a week, whenever they made the past slam. And Elijah Wood knows all about me. All about cloning. I've met him and talked to him there. Same with Pink the singer. I'm just using her as an example. If she comes out tomorrow on national, international live television and says, there's a cloning center and they're killing people, they use us as slaves, and we can't say anything. Do you know what they do? We will again go back to 3 days ago to the last proton slam of CERN Hadron Collider. I don't know how the science works. I'm not a physicist. They will go back to 3 days ago, and guess what happens to Pink? Pink gets shot. Pink gets shot 3 days ago. I'm kind of frantic because look at the lengths that I have to go to. Not an insult, but it should be CNN.
Biggest problem in the world right now probably is body snatching by Vril Parasite and by Microchip. Vril body snatching is called droning. First of all, the Vril is what the Illuminati generally use to take over people and makes it easier for them to have the people do what they want. The Vril are underground reptiles that predate humans. They're just dumb reptiles. They're smarter than chimpanzee, but they're not as smart as humans. They have a compulsion to body snatch other living creatures, and they prefer humans because it's their best quality of life they can get. How they do it is, it's parasite biology. It is not mystical, magical. It is not latching on to your chakra or whatever. It is a parasite biology. Proboscis comes out of the spinal column. There's a protrusion that comes straight up, and like a worm little thing comes out. It does not go into your eyeball. It goes against your eyeball and worms its way under the eyelid and around and back to the optic nerve, where it circles several times going towards the back, towards your brain, and it circles the optic nerve several times, which is where the picture of the medical industry comes from, with that snake curling around the pole. That's where it comes from. And it circles the optic nerve until it reaches the back of your optic nerve, and it releases the spinal fluid that contains the parasitic cells into your brain. And the person dies. The person's consciousness dies. You're not in there somewhere. The person is not temporary. It's a permanent transfer, one way, for the lizard and the poor creature, and releases the parasitic cells in the spinal fluid. It's horribly painful, and the person dies, and the parasite dominates. It's not symbiotic. It's complete domination, and the Vril parasite takes over the human body. And it takes about a month for them to adapt and recall memories and learn to mimic that person's behavior, and becomes a parasite host, or drone, they call it. Now, drones don't have lizard eyes, they don't have slit eyes, and they don't morph back and forth from lizard to person. It's one way. The lizard's body dies, and the human consciousness dies. Takes your friend, say, and you're talking to him after they've been droned. You're not talking to your friend, you're talking to the thing that killed your friend, to take his body. This was the biggest secret in the world until Donald Marshall broke it, because there's a lot of disinfo with David Icke and others that say that don't talk about this. Only one guy talks about this, and that's Donald Marshall, and now I'm trying to help him. The drones have no sympathy or empathy for anyone but themselves. They fake it well, and there's no physical way to tell. There's no smoking gun of, oh, he turned into a lizard. They can fake sympathy, but they don't care. They don't care about anything but themselves. They don't care about each other even. They just want to be a top-level creature they can drone and live as that. They're a parasite. They have a compulsion. They have a sexual compulsion to drone people. There's not many ways to tell once that happens. Like, they can't understand dry humor. If you're lucky, the droning process of going in around the eyeball will rip the eyelid on the outside or the inside, and one of the eyes will appear different than the other, or it'll be swelling, it'll swell out or sink in. Like, hi, Bono from U2, and why do you think he wears the shades all the time? Also, the singer from Radiohead, that's not a lazy eye, he's a drone. They have erratic type of behavior, they need handlers around usually so they don't go off and bite someone on the face or something stupid. And there's a lot of drones in the world, but there's still more humans, and they fear people knowing this. The only way to tell for sure is an MRI or CAT scan of the brain, looking for the front of the brain, no brain activity in the front part of the brain. Same things you see on a serial killer. That's not human behavior. That's either mind control or one of these things. The droning process will kill the front activity in the brain, and you can see that in the MRI or CAT scan. There are no good hosts. There are no good drones because they kill that person in order to take his body. It's not like the movie The Host where, it's a good thing and it's symbiotic. It's not. They're inherent murderers. They murder to take that body. They've been called many nicknames like a mimic, a demon, angels, or, they have so many names like a djinn, or different countries have different names for them. This needs to be known about. This needs to be stopped. They need to be eradicated, and they don't want that. They will beg and cry and plead for sympathy like a human would, but they're not. They're just trying to maintain self-preservation. They're horrible parasitic lizards.
How it started 30 years ago, okay? It was all politicians. Mm-hmm. It was Elizabeth collecting politicians from around the world to be in her thing, right? Yeah. And she already had them all. She's been collecting them for a long time. I don't know when they started with cloning, but it was like just after World War II or something they had it down. And I think Hitler was working on it. Ron Paul was in it. Ron Paul came up talking to me. Said he wanted to talk to me. Seriously, he's there. The leadership of Japan is there. So anyway, as Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, he actually stood up for me. He goes, when you send that letter out, send out a picture of the album cover and send out a picture of your own face. Right? And he was crying because they were talking about killing me, right? I said, what do you care? And he goes, I don't want you to die. I think you're awesome, man. Yeah, okay. But he's done some pretty mean stuff to me. They get out there and they can literally have you chained up. They cut an incision in your nutsack. They put them in their hand and it burns because the hand oil. They call themselves the cold ones too, and they like that. They call themselves the cold ones because it's mentioned in the Bible. The cold ones, the corrupt people that God hates, that He'll destroy the world because of. They say, yeah, we're the cold ones. Right? Okay, you get a group of kids, right? And there's always one kid in the crowd that's like the alpha male or something, and he's the coolest kid of the group, right? And he's defiant, and he's not going to be molested, and he's not going to get hurt. And everybody else is rallying to him, right? And these kids are gaining confidence from this other kid, right? They'll get that kid, and they'll hurt him bad.
The people that are in control, what you call the powers that be, are basically a conglomeration of all the various sects and orders that have existed throughout the ages. They basically have virtually unlimited funding and political power. What the recent tech they've been working on, what they've gotten up to this far is, they call it the soul stealer technology, the soul catcher. It with a 4D, four-dimensional map of the brain, they can create a holographic chip that contains all the information of a person's memories of their personality. It currently takes a lot of multiple supercomputers and even 0-point devices that I'm not fully aware of right now. That the computers run off these devices, so it's literally almost unlimited power. It's hard to understand. Apparently, if you have a few of these devices in the right alignment, you could technically just blow the whole fucking world up. You can make it disappear. They're not planning on doing that or anything like that, but this is the type of power it is, and that's what, that's why it's kind of difficult, I guess, for humanity to even come to this point, because we have to go through the process of learning how to handle our power, or we'll bring out the worst out of everything. DNA replication and the complete mind-brain mapping to create a chip is basically a four-dimensional map of the entire brain and central nervous system and body. And with that, they can do full-on replication cloning, where they completely recreate a human form. They figured out how to activate the DNA in the brain completely, and it unleashes full 100% capacity. What this equated to is going into a device or putting a helmet on, and your consciousness would be transferred into some type of electromagnetic waveform or something, and you basically could travel throughout space at first, and then time itself. You could travel through time in a chair. It's a trip chair. But this mechanical device actually beams electromagnetic waves into your brain and allows you to, they say it unlocks your full capacity of your brain. That's why I say we're reality generators. It's actual time travel. You can see, that's how basically the first effects are that you see the future of your existence, and they can tune it in to push you forward or further, and you can take over and guide it yourself. But you see the different possible realities of existence. They basically can create artificial dimensions and take people there and play out whatever type of psychological experiment they want. And a lot of the knowledge behind this comes from the Nazis from World War II, so it's a lot of psychological experimentation. So there's at least one person that didn't fully come back from the device, but it is what they call a time travel device. A lot of them, the soldiers would go back or go forward and see the end of the world, basically World War III. You enhance your consciousness and you see that. But that's what would happen first. You would see your possibilities and whatever would happen as a result of that, which is why it's basically so dangerous, is that if you see a possibility that you don't want and you kind of enhance it and can't get out of your head, the only thing that ever happens from that is when you return, you'll take the steps to create that possibility. There's a big problem. It's almost like a fucking nightmare device at that point. Their line of reasoning is that, well, we went far enough, so let's go farther and just to go to the end of time, to see to the far future, see what's going to happen. It's both the worst thing you could imagine and the greatest thing ever. All of space-time and consciousness becomes one essence, but that no one knows what that means. Where at least us two now is that the control group for that, all these secret projects, they basically have this power to go around, operate in and out of time, basically teleport themselves into any location and operate and influence a person's mind. They got a little out of hand. The gang stalking is from that. The mind control extending into just the general population and celebrities is a part of that. This brings me to my other point. The whole point with Donald Marshall and the celebrities is all real. It's actually very serious. I seen the same things. The celebrities basically need help. They want to get out of the situation. The people that began this project were the elite. They used the Nazi technology. They used the science behind it to gather people, basically, that they thought they could provide themselves with a little bit of amusement with. I hate to say it like that. Apparently, Brittany Murphy, I think, died as a result of all of this, trying to speak out. And they said, yeah, Heath Ledger or whatever broke his neck trying to dance or playing around breakdancing in the bass. They found talented individuals, these celebrities, these artists, models, whatever, and they give them this deal with all the power that you can imagine. And when, the deal is that their DNA goes into the archive and their bodies get used in a variety of ways. It is important. It is right for helping celebrities. All the ones Donald mentioned, and mentioned Donald Marshall, him, all the ones he mentioned, and more. Go put on TV. I don't want to say names yet because it's dangerous. Flip 30 channels. You'll see 10 of the celebrities that I've seen speak out to me personally and other people there that this shit needs to be stopped, and their genetics are cloned and they can't get out of it because it's consciousness. They speak out through their symbols and their music. That's what you have to look for. It's all over the media, and anyone involved is going to be hinting at it somehow. That's what all these symbols and hints are about. But these people aren't going to wait and say, okay, next week I'll come back and you can do what you want with my body. No, they want it every night, all day, now. So that's fucked up. That's slavery on many levels, beyond just the talent aspect. The cloning is coming out. They've been doing it for so long now that companies are getting involved with supplying the goods and just handling it all, managing it. It's kind of mind-blowing. Since they have this consciousness technology, they're making an archive, basically, and they're basically drawing up everybody's neural information into the archive so that they can basically create a mirror image of reality and use that almost like a Noah's Ark in a way to achieve immortality. Just look around and read up on the Navy projects. That's kind of what started all this. It gave them the power to go in at a time, see what's going to happen, and then organize plans, like retroactively almost, but before the events happen, because they're using this technology. So they're always honestly 10, 20 steps ahead of everybody doing anything here, which is also why they couldn't speak out. I'm just going to say it. Anybody in there, if they spoke out, as soon as they decided within them to speak out, it would show up on a grid or a device or whatever it is, and they could see that our timeline was going to be influenced by somebody influencing that project. And they could literally narrow it down so they see what person did what and who did where, and this time go and whack that person. It never happens. So yeah, honestly, all the people getting whacked, that's what it is. They all plan to speak out. And if you see little hints leading up to it, and you think that's what it's for, that's not what it's for. It's because of what they were gonna do after that. That's why it's kind of scary. They're building an AI consciousness system, a technology, a consciousness, an actual artificial intelligence that can rule the world, that can be turned on with this grid and the 0-point generators and would never shut off, and it would have power over our mind. All the aluminum in the atmosphere is basically part of this AI system that is being constructed, that if we're plugged into it, it'll make all your decisions for you mentally. You won't have any way to overcome that unless your spirit overpowers your brain chemistry, which has to happen through that fear switch, when all the fear of the brain chemistry is pumping, and you willfully turn it in the other direction. People without that won't have any natural defense to a mind-to-mind scalar grid around the entire planet. And then if they have the possibility, they're going to do what they want with that power. They're going to make chaos reign. And out of that chaos, they're going to walk up the little ordered steps and stand on top again. And then there's really not a lot of people ruling the world. It's literally a handful of people. They control people through their emotions, through their fears. That's what I've learned. That's why I say it's no fear attitude we have to come at it with.